The Millionaire Real Estate Investor by Gary Keller, Dave Jenks, and J. Papasan. Let me tell you a story about Gary Keller that'll make you want to kick yourself, or maybe him. Picture this. He's on vacation with his wife at this gorgeous beach resort. They step into an elevator, and there's a real estate agent inside. His wife, just being friendly, asks, "So, how's the market? Heard of any good deals?" The agent's face literally lights up. "Actually, I know of a great one right here in this building. A condo just came on the market. Want to see it?" Now, they weren't planning on buying anything. But hey, it sounded more fun than another hour by the pool, right? So they went. And, oh man, this condo was perfect. Corner unit. Stunning beach views. Immaculate condition. The price? A mere $160,000. Gary and his wife knew the area cold. They knew this was ridiculously underpriced. The agent even admits, honestly, this is a steal. She looks at them expectantly. Want to make an offer? Here's where it gets painful. Even though Gary knew it was a smoking deal, even though he could totally afford it, he froze. He hadn't learned yet to think like a real investor. Someone who understands you don't walk away from opportunities like this. So he thanked her politely and said those fatal words, "We'll think about it." Fast forward 1 week. They're back home, still obsessing over that condo at dinner. Finally, they decide, yes, let's do this. Gary digs out the agent's card, picks up the phone, heart racing with excitement. And the agent? She just laughs, actually laughs. "I told you that condo was a steal," she says. It sold the next day. Gary hangs up, turns to his wife, and says 4 words that would haunt him and completely change his life. "Honey, we just lost $100,000. That single moment of hesitation, that one missed opportunity, vaporized an instant $100,000 profit. That property would have flipped immediately for $260,000. But it wasn't just the money that hurt. It was the gut-wrenching realization that he'd been asking the wrong question. He'd been asking, should I make an investment? When a true investor asks, is this the deal? That painful $100,000 lesson launched a quest. Gary needed to understand the mindset, the models, and the methods of people who don't just stumble into real estate wealth, but who build it systematically, deliberately. That quest led Gary Keller, who co-founded the largest real estate company in North America, to interview over 100 millionaire real estate investors from every imaginable background. He and his team were hunting for the blueprint. Not the late-night infomercial nonsense, not the get-rich-quick schemes, but the timeless, battle-tested principles that transform ordinary people into millionaires. The result of that journey? The book we're diving into today, The Millionaire Real Estate Investor. Here's my promise. By the end of our time together, you'll understand this blueprint completely. You'll see that building serious wealth isn't about being a genius, inheriting money, or perfectly timing the market. It's about mastering a handful of powerful, deceptively simple ideas that anyone, seriously, anyone, including you, can use. This isn't just about real estate. This is your manual for creating genuine financial freedom. I remember this conversation I had with my son in the car one afternoon. He was 12, and he turns to me with this incredibly serious expression. "Dad," he says, "I need money, serious money, and I need it fast." I smiled, thinking this was my moment. I launched into my best dad wisdom about work ethic, patience, having a solid plan. I told him stories about how I earned money at his age. "How about mowing yards?" I suggested enthusiastically. He just shook his head like I was completely missing the point. No, it's not fast enough, Dad." I kept throwing out suggestions, and he kept shooting them down. Every idea was either too slow or didn't produce the serious big money he had in mind. I could feel my frustration building. It seemed like he was completely missing the point. But then it hit me. Maybe I was the one missing his point. He was growing up in a world of instant lottery winners, million-dollar game shows, and overnight success stories. A world teaching his generation that wealth either comes quickly or doesn't come at all. And what haunted me was this fear that we're losing our way in a culture that values money for what it buys, not for the good it can do. That day, I made a decision. Instead of getting angry, I'd stay engaged. We went home and created a real plan together, something he could actually build on and grow over time. As that plan took shape, I watched his confidence grow. He could see a path forward. Here's a truth you can bank on. Small money comes easy. Big money doesn't. And this book, The Millionaire Real Estate Investor, is entirely about the plans that create big money. It's about understanding that one of the absolute best ways to create life-changing wealth, the kind that sets you and your family genuinely free, is through real estate investing. It can absolutely transform your life. But before we dive into the how, we need to tackle the why, and more importantly, the why not. Why do so many people who dream of financial freedom never take even the first step? The authors discovered it all comes down to what they brilliantly call myth-understandings. These are the whispers of doubt, the fears we've been educated into, that build an invisible wall between us and our dreams. The first and biggest myth is about ourselves. We tell ourselves things like, I don't need to be an investor, my job will take care of me. Or, I'm happy with what I have, I don't need or want to be wealthy. And the most powerful myth of all, it doesn't matter if I want it, I just can't do it. Let's demolish these one by one, because they're the foundation of everything. First, this idea that your job is your path to wealth. For 99% of people, this is simply not true. Your job is where you earn your initial investment capital. That's its role. But it will never, ever be your wealth. Think of it this way. Being rich is about having money. You can land a high-paying job and be very rich. But here's the problem. The moment you stop working, the money stops flowing. Financial wealth, though, that's completely different. It's about owning assets, like businesses or real estate, that generate money, whether you're working or not. It's unearned income. The authors share this jaw-dropping story about boxer Mike Tyson, who earned over $400 million during his career. $400 million. Yet in 2003, he filed for bankruptcy, $23 million in debt. How does that even happen? Because he had massive income but wasn't an investor. He never built a system where his money worked for him. It's tragic, but it proves something crucial. High income doesn't automatically translate to wealth. Your job is your job. Building wealth is something entirely different. The second myth is equally sneaky. I'm happy with what I have. It sounds almost noble, doesn't it? But here's the truth. You have absolutely no idea what you'll need or want beyond today. Life is wildly unpredictable. You can't predict the resources you'll need for life's uncertainties, both good and bad. What if a family member gets sick and desperately needs your help? What if your child shows an incredible talent that requires expensive opportunities? What if an unexpected chance to make a real difference in your community comes along, but it requires more money than you have? Pursuing financial wealth isn't about greed. It's about having choices. It's about being prepared for both the minimums life might demand and the maximums it might offer. The authors put it beautifully. Instead of forgetting your dreams and living within your means, try pursuing the means to live your dreams. And finally, the most insidious myth of all, I just can't do it. This is the voice of self-doubt that judges you before you even try. It assumes the future is fixed. It says, based on who I am today, this is all I can ever accomplish. The millionaire investors in this book came from every imaginable background. Some started drowning in debt with destroyed credit. One was a registered nurse struggling to support her disabled husband. Another was a single mom who'd been waiting tables at Denny's. What they shared wasn't some special money gene. It was a belief in possibility. They thought in terms of what was possible, not just what was probable. They understood that you can't predict what you can or can't do until you actually try. Most of us think we need a lot of everything to start investing. Tons of ability, tons of time, tons of money. But the book reveals something fascinating. You don't. You need a little of each. And these three factors, ability, time, and money, are multipliers. If you just double the time you spend learning and looking, even if your ability and money stay the same, you've doubled your investment potential. Doubles your time and your ability, you've quadrupled it. Big things always start small. Once you push past these personal myths, you'll encounter a second wave of doubts, the myths about investing itself. You'll hear that it's complicated, risky, that all the good deals are taken, that you need special knowledge, that you have to perfectly time the market. The authors systematically demolish each one. Investing is only as complicated as you make it. You don't need to be a mechanic to drive a car, and you don't need to be a rocket scientist to invest. You just need to know the fundamental rules of the road. Investing isn't inherently risky. Speculating is risky. Gambling is risky. Real investing, done right, is actually the process of removing risk. It's about making your money when you go in, by buying something valuable for terms that immediately create profit. And timing the market? The book makes this brilliant point. In successful investing, the timing finds you. It's not about sitting on the sidelines waiting for the perfect moment to jump in. It's about being in the game constantly, always active, always looking, so when that brief window of opportunity opens, you're right there ready to act. As the saying goes, timing isn't about being in the right place at the right time, it's about being in the right place all the time. So how do you do that? How do you position yourself in the right place all the time? The answer lies in one of the most powerful concepts in the entire book: the power of models. Gary Keller shares this great story about playing Monopoly with his son. His son was convinced the game was pure luck. After losing badly, he challenged his father, who'd claimed it wasn't just about luck. Gary went to his office and pulled out an article by a game designer outlining a simple, proven strategy for winning at Monopoly. It explained which properties get the most traffic, which have the highest return on investment, how to negotiate to get the best monopolies. They read it together, and you could see the light bulb moment. There was actually a way to win, a model to follow. When they played again, his son won without any help. He finally understood the difference between a good deal and a great one. Real estate investing works exactly the same way. Success isn't about luck, it's about strategy. The best investors, the real champions, don't count on good luck. They use proven, time-tested models to take luck out of the equation. This is the core philosophy of the book. Big goals, powered by big models, lead to big success. Why start from scratch, learning through painful and expensive mistakes, when you can start where someone else left off? You can learn from the history of those who've already succeeded. This is exactly what the authors did. They went on a quest to find the models used by the very best players in the real estate investing game. And they discovered that all their success boiled down to focusing on just three things. They call it the dynamic trio of investing: criteria, terms, and network, CTN. Criteria is what you buy. These are your standards defining the kind of property you're hunting for, the location, the type, the condition. Your criteria are non-negotiable. They're your opportunity filter, keeping bad deals out and letting good ones through. Terms are how you buy it. This is where a deal is truly made. Terms are all the negotiable aspects: price, down payment, interest rate, even who pays closing costs. Skillful negotiation of terms can transform a decent opportunity into an incredible deal, creating better equity and improved cash flow from day one. Network is who helps you. This was the surprise discovery. The lone wolf investor is complete mythology. Every single millionaire investor they interviewed talked passionately about the people who helped them succeed: agents, contractors, lenders, mentors, partners. This is leverage. You can accomplish infinitely more with qualified help than you ever could alone. These three areas, criteria, terms, and network are the foundation upon which your entire journey is built. And that journey unfolds across 4 distinct stages, like climbing a great mountain. The first stage is think a million. This is your base camp. Before you make a single move, you have to learn to think like a millionaire investor. You have to understand that how you think genuinely matters. What you hold in your mind is what shows up in your life. The second stage is buy a million. This is about getting the working models you need to purchase investment properties with a market value of $1 million or more. It sounds like a massive leap, but many investors reach this milestone far sooner than they expect. The third stage is own a million. This is where your focus shifts dramatically. You're no longer just acquiring properties. You're building a business. You're now aiming to have an equity position of $1 million or more. And the final stage, the summit, is receive a million. This is where your investment business is designed, so you can receive an annual income of $1 million from your investments, without being involved in the day-to-day operations. To guide you on this journey, the authors distilled all their research into 5 proven models. These are the actual how-to of becoming a millionaire real estate investor. Let's start with the net worth model. This is your financial dashboard. It begins with a simple but profound idea. You must learn the path of money. When a dollar leaves your hands, it begins a journey. You have 4 choices: spend it, hold it, donate it, or invest it. Most people spend most of it, and their journey ends right there. Millionaires, though, purposefully budget their money to maximize what they can invest. They see investing not as an expense but as a requirement. They pay themselves first, second, and last. The final piece of this model is tracking your personal net worth. This is your scorecard in the wealth-building game. What you own minus what you owe. By tracking this number over time, you start seeing which financial decisions have the greatest positive impact. You begin understanding, on a deep level, the difference between an asset that appreciates, like real estate, and one that depreciates, like a car. This naturally leads to the second model, the financial model. This is your wealth creation engine. There are only 2 ways to build wealth in real estate: equity buildup and cash flow growth. Equity buildup comes from 2 forces working together: price appreciation, the market value of your property increasing over time, and debt paydown, your tenants literally paying off your mortgage for you. Every single month, your equity in the property grows. Cash flow growth is the unearned income you receive when your rental income exceeds all your costs. The book lays out this powerful motto for the model: buy it right, pay it down, pay it off. When you buy it right, you make your money going in, ensuring both equity and cash flow from the start. As you pay it down, your equity builds even faster. And when you pay it off, your cash flow grows dramatically, creating a powerful stream of passive income. To show how powerful this really is, the book walks through a 20-year journey. It demonstrates how an investor, starting in 1983, with a single property and a down payment of just over $11,000, could become a millionaire. By consistently buying 1 or 2 properties every couple of years, using a simple formula: buy at the median price, get a 20% discount, put 20% down, the numbers are absolutely staggering. After 20 years, with 15 properties, that investor would have an equity position of over $1.6 million and an annual cash flow of over $50,000. It's not magic, it's math. It's what happens when you follow the model religiously. But you absolutely can't do this alone, which brings us to the network model. This model is about intentionally building your dream team. It consists of 3 circles. Your inner circle is your personal board of directors. These are the 3 to 5 people you trust most: mentors, partners, and consultants who have more experience than you and are genuinely committed to your success. You meet with them regularly. Your support circle is your team of transactioneers. These are the key professionals you rely on for every deal: your real estate agent, your lender, your accountant, your contractor. And your service circle is your army of specialists. These are the inspectors, electricians, plumbers, and painters you call on as needed. Building this network doesn't happen by accident. It happens by asking two simple questions to everyone you meet in the industry. Who do you know that I should know? And what would you do if you were me? These two questions will open doors and build relationships faster than anything else you could possibly do. Once you have your network, you need opportunities. That's the lead generation model. This is about systematically finding properties. It starts with a crystal clear answer to the question, what am I looking for? This is your criteria. You need a wanted poster for your ideal property. Then you have to answer, who can help me find it? These are your sources: owners, intermediaries like attorneys and bank officers, and your leads network. And finally, how will I find them? This comes down to two activities: prospecting, which is actively seeking opportunities, making calls, doing research, and marketing, which is about attracting them, running ads, sending mail. You'll generally be prospecting for properties and marketing for motivated sellers. The authors found that for every 30 properties an experienced investor investigates, about 10 warrant a serious look. They make offers on 3, and only 1 turns into an actual done deal. It's absolutely a numbers game. The quality is in the quantity. This brings us to the final model, the acquisition model. This is the moment of truth. You've found a property that meets your criteria. How do you transform it into a deal? This model lays out the two fundamental strategies. The first is buy and sell. This is a cash-building strategy. It's about finding a property, perhaps improving it, and then quickly reselling it for profit. This is how many investors build their initial capital. But here's the thing. It's a job. When you stop, the income stops. The second and far more powerful strategy is buy and hold. This is the true wealth-building strategy. This is where you acquire properties you can rent and hold for the long term, maximizing both your equity buildup and your cash flow growth. For each of these strategies, the book provides detailed worksheets. These aren't just forms to fill out. They're checklists for making good investments. They force you to be disciplined, to know your numbers cold, and to be accurate and conservative in all your estimates. They help you calculate your after-repair value, your costs of repair, your carrying costs, and your costs of sale. They force you to determine your offer price based on logic, not emotion. They're the tools ensuring you buy it right. As you move from buy $1 million to own $1 million, your focus shifts dramatically. You become more sophisticated. You learn about creative financing techniques, like owner financing and lease options. You learn how to maximize your net operating income by increasing rents and controlling expenses. And you start thinking about leverage in a completely new way. The book reveals this fascinating insight about your return on investment and your return on equity. Your ROI, the return on the actual money you put in, tends to go up over time because of leverage. But your ROE, the return on all the equity you've built up, actually goes down. A property with lots of equity is like having cash sitting in a low-interest savings account. It's safe, sure, but it's not working as hard for you as it could be. This is why millionaire investors don't aim for 100% equity in their properties. They understand that their equity is capital. They periodically tap into that equity by refinancing and pull it out to reinvest in more properties where it can earn a higher return. They keep their money working hard. This continuous cycle of buying, holding, and leveraging is what propels an investor to the final stage, receive $1 million. This stage is about building a business that can run without you. It's about people leverage. The book outlines a 7-level path, showing how you gradually move from I do it to we do it to they do it. You start by doing everything yourself. Then you hire an administrative assistant, then a property manager, then someone to help with acquisitions. Eventually, you reach the 7th level, where you hire a CEO to run your entire investment business for you. At this point, you've moved from working in your business to working on your business. You've created an asset that pays you, an engine of unearned income that demands only a small amount of your time. This is the ultimate freedom. It's the point where you have enough unearned income to finance your life's mission without having to work. You've reached the summit. And what do you do when you get there? The book ends with a beautiful and profound idea. It suggests that the journey of wealth has 4 stages. wealth education, wealth accumulation, wealth protection, and finally, wealth distribution. Financial wealth is never truly owned. The most we can achieve is being a good steward for a time and then passing it on. The greatest gift of wealth is the ability to share it, to make a difference, to understand that money is good for the good it can do. As we come to the end of our journey through the Millionaire Real Estate Investor, what strikes me most isn't the complexity of the strategies, it's their profound simplicity. The book completely demystifies real estate and presents it not as a secret club for the rich and daring, but as a learnable skill, a game with clear rules that anyone with purpose and focus can win. The most powerful lesson for me is the relentless focus on mindset. Before any models, before any math, the authors insist you must first win the battle in your own mind. You must confront the misunderstandings, those voices of doubt whispering, "I can't," or "it's too risky." This isn't just motivational fluff, it's the foundational work. The book argues, and I completely believe, that your external world reflects your internal one. If you think like a consumer, you'll be a consumer. If you learn to think like an investor, you'll become one. The concept of using proven models instead of relying on trial and error is another game changer. It's a call to humility. It tells us we don't have to reinvent the wheel. The path to success has already been paved by thousands who came before us. Our job isn't to be a lone genius, but a diligent student, to find what works and apply it with discipline. The Monopoly analogy is perfect. It shows that even in a game we think is about luck, there's a system, a strategy. Life works the same way. The winners are masters of strategy, not just lucky recipients of good fortune. And that strategy is laid out so clearly in the 5 models. They provide a complete ecosystem for an investor. It's not just about finding a deal, it's about building a financial life. The net worth model gives you the controls. The financial model gives you the engine. The network model gives you the crew. The lead generation model gives you the fuel. And the acquisition model gives you the steering wheel. Together, they form a comprehensive, actionable plan, taking you from zero to financial freedom. So how can you start applying these ideas today, right now? Here are 3 simple actions you can take. First, create your first personal balance sheet this week. Just a simple list. On one side, what you own, and on the other, what you owe. Don't judge the number, just get a baseline. This is your starting point. From now on, you have a scorecard for the wealth-building game. Second, identify one person in your life who could be part of your inner circle. It could be a family member, a teacher, or a family friend with some business or investing experience. Schedule time to talk with them. Don't ask for money. Ask for wisdom. Share your goals and ask that simple, powerful question: what would you do if you were me? This is how your network begins. Third, and perhaps most importantly, choose one myth understanding you tell yourself and decide to challenge it. If you believe investing is complicated, spend 30 minutes this weekend reading an article about a basic real estate concept. If you believe I can't do it, write down 3 reasons why that might not be true. The journey begins with a single step away from self-doubt. That was a summary of The Millionaire Real Estate Investor by Gary Keller, Dave Jenks, and J. Papasan. We've explored the core ideas today, the very heart of the blueprint. But I'll be honest with you, a summary can only ever be a map. The real journey happens when you walk the path yourself. The true power of a book like this isn't just in the information. It's in the way a particular story, a specific example, or a simple phrase connects with you in a moment of quiet reflection. This summary is your guide to decide if this journey is for you. If anything we've talked about today has sparked a fire in you, I urge you to grab a copy. Reading it isn't just learning. It's an experience that can fundamentally change the way you see your future. The link to the book is in the description. Also, if you found this summary valuable, please take a moment to like and subscribe. It tells us we're on the right track and ensures you won't miss our next exploration into another life-changing book. Let's keep learning, and let's keep growing together.